Hello, everyone, friends, followers, fans of Brooke Owen. Thank you for joining us today for our weekly CATS live stream. CATS standing for Curriculum and Technical Support for the Career Choices Series curriculum. Thank you so much for joining us. How's it going today, Brooke?
Going good. Lots of good stuff. I'm super excited about the topic today. Of course, I'm starting to sound like a broken record with that, but
Yeah, they're all good topics.
we don't pick the bad ones.
Yeah, definitely not. So, 3 reasons to stay today. Number 1, the resource of the week is an Edutopia article. It talks about 6 ways you can help make your students feel important. So we'll be discussing a little bit of that. Number 2, we have some information on upcoming webinars and in-person institutes that you're going to want to hear about. And number 3, the activity we're discussing today is called How Do You Want to Be Remembered from Chapter 3. So we'll have a good discussion about those topics.
Don't touch that dial. Keep it right here.
And we'll try to make it a little bit shorter today than usual. We'll see how we do.
It's always a goal, right, Chris?
Yes, always.
So, if you are joining us today, please introduce yourself and say hi. Even if you're not joining us right now and you're watching this afterwards, type in a comment and say hi because we love getting comments.
It really makes it worth it.
Please, please, please. So, also, we wanted to start out with our news minute. And I'm going to go ahead and share the screen. We're going to talk about the Career Choices newsletter. If you do not have this coming to your inbox every week, please check out the link that I'm going to post in the comments after we're done streaming and sign up for it.
Yeah, really good information that you can get from us each week. Like session recordings from our virtual conference we had last month. I guess last week was last month, but earlier in March, we had our Get Focused, Stay Focused virtual conference, and one of the sessions was done by master teacher Carol Keyser from Wheatland Union High School in California, and she talks about her program, how she built up her program, and gives you a roadmap of how you can build a very similar successful program.
Spoiler
So,
alert,
go
she
ahead.
did it with the MEDAL program, which I'm going to plug right now. If you are not aware of what our MEDAL program is, that's MEDAL. It is our process of helping schools achieve excellence and being able to reward them for doing that. So if you have not applied for a medal yet and you are using the Career Choices series curriculum, please do that or send me an email to find out how to do that. And that link will be in the comments after as well.
Yes, and I love how Carol uses that as her outline for her presentation. So if you want a great program, make sure you watch that recording. Lots of wonderful information in there.
Yes. And I'm going to pop in with a couple of hellos. Spencer's here with us again this week. Hi, Spencer. And Deb says, Happy Wednesday.
Yes,
Happy Wednesday, Deb.
Wednesdays are always happy because of the live stream.
Yes. It's funny because we're a very technical company, and so I don't always see people. So it's really nice to say hi.
Yep. Excuse me. So yeah, let's get to the resource of the week. It's an article on Edutopia, and they put out a quick survey. I think it was on their Facebook page, where they just asked a simple question of how do you make your students feel important? And they got many answers from hundreds of educators, and they kind of compiled those into the 6 most popular. And the overall theme is to remember the little things. So all of these tips are the little things that will make your students feel important. And we're going to be talking a lot about this today on making your students feel important and then helping them how they want to feel, how they want to be remembered. So this article is absolutely perfect for this week. Which was your favorite tip, Brooke?
I loved number 2, which is checking in. And one of the teachers said that they do a quick question of the day. And sometimes it's silly, sometimes it's more serious, but they check in with all of the students every day right before class starts. And I loved that idea. And I feel like it really would work well with this curriculum.
Definitely. And think about the students who don't even get something that simple at home. Like how important it is for them when they get to their classroom to know that their teacher is checking in with them and caring about them and their feelings and what they're doing that day.
Yeah. What was your favorite, Chris?
Mine was number 4, be responsive. And it says, I'll read right from it. It says, when you know your kids, you can adjust your curriculum to match student interests and do a better job differentiating at the individual level. And I know when I was a teacher, that was the big word of the time was differentiated instruction on how we could make the lessons meet each individual student based on their needs. And so, like you said, this part of the article works perfect with the career choices curriculum as well, because when you know your students, you've read their 10-year plans, their career interest surveys, you know what they want, what that occupation that they're working towards, then you can gear your lessons towards that. You can bring in guest speakers that match those industry fields. Um, you can just give little comments during your lesson like, hey, Hallie, I know you want to be a nurse, so this right here directly applies to being a nurse, so you can really differentiate that instruction and meet your individual students' needs.
Yeah, I love that. And that's so especially important for what we're going to be talking about today.
Definitely.
And, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we're not going to tell you the other 4
No.
tips, so go read the article to get those other 4 ideas.
Yes. And again, if you have not signed up for the newsletter, then I will post the link to this newsletter specifically so you can get that link. But also, please do sign up for our newsletter. We do try to provide some excellent tips, not just from our resources, which are very helpful as well, but from outside sources like Edutopia as well.
Yep.
And we're going to go ahead and get started on the main part of our content today. And I feel like I'm a broken record with this a lot of times, but this curriculum is so important to me and has been such an important part of my life. I started working here when I was 22, 23. And so it's been a really important part of my life development. And these things that this course teaches has been a formative part of my life, right?
Yeah.
So I am really, really passionate about this stuff and trying to help kids get it earlier. So today we're going to be talking about the epitaph activity is what a lot of people call it. So Chris, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
Can you tell me what an epitaph is?
Well, I would describe it as a short, simple phrase, something that will help people remember something. So the most common use of an epitaph is on a tombstone. So a short, simple phrase on someone's tombstone on how they will be remembered.
Yeah. So the name of this activity is called How Do You Want to Be Remembered? And we were talking to one of the teachers who were using our curriculum yesterday on her medal interview. And she was talking about this activity as one of the important activities and saying she really tries to drive home to students that they each individually have a purpose for being on this planet. They were born for a reason. Now, not everybody's born to be famous and influential like Brené Brown or Oprah, but everyone has a reason for being on the earth. So it's really important to figure out what your reason is. And so that I really loved how she talked about that with this episode, or with this activity. And one of the other teachers that I really like, the way that she talks about the epitaph, I'm going to go ahead and share this right now. If you go to the online class agendas, I'm going to pop up our cute little banner here as well. If you go to the online class agendas in chapter 3, session 2, this is where we have all of the activities for this specific activity. If you don't know how to access the online class agendas, please email Chris or I, or support@academicinnovations.com, or comment on the Facebook page, and we would, or YouTube or Twitter. Not going to leave anybody out. And we would love to have, to show you where these are at, because they're such a valuable resource. And my absolute favorite resource from this specific topic is the mini video lecture, which, again, if you've been watching these YouTube and Facebook live streams, I'm sure that comes as a shock to you. But I love these mini video lectures because Carol really breaks it down. This video is 6 minutes long, and she breaks it down and is very real with the students about what this means. What do you want people to say about you after you're gone? What do you want on your tombstone? So that video is just really moving for me.
Yeah, and she says the phrase a couple of times that she doesn't want it to get too dark. Like, it might be kind of hard to talk to students about death, but it's going to happen to all of us. So we might as well talk about it in relation to the curriculum, and, like you said, exactly how do you want to be remembered. And I also love how she put, so don't think about it as the end. Don't think about the end of your life. Think about your life, how you're living your life, so that when you get to the end of your life, how are people going to remember you? So don't focus on that end day. Focus on everything you're doing before that last day.
Yeah, and not to get, again, too dark about death, but I've actually had a lot of experience with writing tombstone epitaphs recently and helping other people write them.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't think about the person the day before they died. You think about their whole life.
Right.
So this isn't something that just comes up. And I love Spencer's comment. He commented, this is a great question for all of us to think about. So how do you want to be remembered? What type of person do you want to be? Where do you want your emphasis in life?
Right. And you might be wondering, why is a lesson like this in a curriculum about careers? And just know that, yeah, this curriculum is full of activities like this. It's not just about finding a career. It's about, what are you going to do with your life? Who are you? What do you want? How are you going to get it? How are you going to be remembered? What kind of life are you going to live? This curriculum covers all of those topics. So it fits in perfectly with career choices. Are you going to work in a career that is going to make you happy? We've talked about this many times before on the live stream. Work in a career that is just kind of forced upon you because you didn't do any planning for it? Or are you going to be in a career that is going to make you happy and give your life purpose?
Yeah. Work is going to be hard, no matter what you do, whether you love it or not. Sometimes work's going to be hard. So do you want to have hard work that you don't enjoy, or hard work that you do enjoy? And something that really, as you look at different careers and different ways that people communicate with people, and if you know who you are and how you want to be perceived by others, and where you want to put your emphasis in life, that is such a huge step up to be able to know what you want to do.
Exactly.
I know a kid who was convinced for almost 10 years that he was going to be the president of the United States. And actually, that's funny because it's not the kid you're thinking.
It's not Victor?
No, it was a different kid. But he realized once he started getting internships that he didn't want to be seen the way that people see politicians.
Yeah.
That was not what he wanted. He wanted to make a change and make a difference. And so he readjusted after 10 years of being 100% committed to that career path.
Yeah.
And so if he had recognized how he wanted to be seen and that was not how people in that career were seen,
Yeah. It's true.
would have saved him a lot of time.
Yeah, definitely. That reminds me of a section from the actual activity in the
Mhm.
textbook. Um, I love this part where it says, "We all want to be recognized or acknowledged for some action, way of being, or accomplishment. This is a basic human need. Taking the time now to think about the contribution you would like to make in your lifetime will help give your life direction." So that fits in perfectly with what you just said. If we help our students take the time now on how they want to be remembered, it gives them that direction they need, and as it relates to choosing a career, especially.
Yeah. And then going back to, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this later on, but going back to helping kids find a purpose and a
Hmm.
why for their life. And
Yeah.
that's so important. But I'm not, we're going to get to that in a minute.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about some things that are in the instructor's guide. So let me see if I can completely wig out my lighting on my camera. So there are several different activities in the instructor's guide that are fabulous, but I just want to touch on one today because, again, I'm trying to keep it shorter than usual. But on page 4-30, I think it's 40 actually. Yep, 41, 4-41. It is a a guided meditation activity. And it talks about going forward in your mind, going forward in your life, and kind of watching your life fast forward. And what do you see? And asking students to visualize a lot of detail. And this activity hit me so hard because when I was in college and I was just about ready to graduate with my associate's degree, I was 17 years old, and I was in acting 2. And I'd been with my acting professor for almost a year, and he's one of the most amazing men that I've ever met. And I have the pleasure of knowing a lot of amazing people. And he had us all lay down, and he walked us through this guided meditation, which he'd been doing throughout the course of the last 4 months. But this was the final, right before we were ready to take the final. And so he was doing this I thought, to relax us and help us be prepared for the final, right?
Hmm.
And so he took us through this guided meditation. He got to the end. And throughout this process, we had to create something in our minds. And he helped us walk through, and he gave us very specific details on what the materials were that we were creating with, and had us describe exactly how far away or how close we were to the items, and all of it was unique to each person. And at the end, he had us step back and look at what we had done. And this has been almost 20 years. Probably not quite that long, just over 15 years. And I can still very vividly see in my mind what I had created. And he talked to us about how that particular creation had value strictly because we had created it. And nobody else was ever going to see it. Nobody else would be able to understand, even if we drew it out or were able to somehow try to communicate it to someone, they would never actually see what we had done. It was all in our head, but that it had value because it was ours. And that it had value because it was mine and I had created it. And I had never I had never thought about that before. For me, value came from what I did, from what I had to offer to think that something had value simply because it was mine. I created it and I held it within myself, and nobody else ever had it, and nobody could offer an opinion on it, was something that was totally foreign to me at that point. And that was one of the most pivotal points in my life, and has changed my life completely. It changed my life completely in that moment. And so I would love to see or hear about what teachers could do with this guided meditation, because it does ask you to go into a lot of detail. What type of life do you want to create? And guess what? Nobody else is going to see what that student sees, but it's valid and it is amazing just because it's theirs. And that's the wonderful thing about this course, is it teaches them how to create a plan for that. Nobody else has to validate that. It's great if someone can. It's really helpful to have mentors like we were talking about last week.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to help the students learn to start validating themselves and getting confidence in what they want. And so, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
No, I was going to say, that's powerful stuff. Yeah, I love that. I immediately thought of relating it to the visions that students create for themselves in their mind as they're going through this curriculum, and how important it is for educators to nourish that and to encourage them. I don't think I've ever heard a teacher who teaches this curriculum go up to a student and say, your vision for your life is wrong. You can't do it that way. So we want to encourage our students and help them find that purpose in their life. And they have that, like you said, they have that creation in their mind of that vision that they've made for their life. And then they go for it, they work for it, they're motivated to work for that. So that's really powerful stuff.
Yeah. And the more detailed that they can get through that guided meditation of what they want their future to look like, the more impactful that activity will be for them.
Mm-hmm.
So there are several other activities that are available in the instructor's guide, but you're going to have to go look at them because we are already running short on time. And I want to get to possibilities.
Yes, two really, really good excerpts. Well, they're not even excerpts, they're full poems this time.
Yeah.
2 poems. The first one is called Growing Older by Roland J. Wells. And I really loved this one. It is a poem that it's someone coming to the end of their life, and they're reflecting on what they've been through, but more importantly, they are making statements on what their life is like now. And so there's a few phrases I just wanted to read really quick. A little less ready to scold and blame, a little more care for a brother's name. I love that. As people get older and older, I think they're more willing to just let things slide, not get so offended at things all the time, start caring for people more. And then at the very end, the last 2 lines, thrice happy then if some soul can say, I live because of their help on the way. And I think that fits in perfectly with what we're talking about. Like, when someone finds that purpose in their life, and that purpose usually involves helping other people along the way, and how happy you can be, when you're at the end of your life and you know that the things that you have done have helped people along the way, how great that is going to make you feel, and how people are going to remember you by doing that. So I really, really loved that poem. Before we go to the next one, it did bring up an interesting point. So after each poem or selection, there are questions that you can go over with your students to reflect on what they just read and do journal entries, all kinds of things. And so this one, it says, teens and senior citizens are often considered misunderstood and even hard to handle. And at the time this book was put together, teens and seniors, they shared the fastest growing suicide rates in the nation. And so this activity has students write a short paper comparing the problems that teenagers and senior citizens have in common. And so we've had a chance to talk about this, Brooke and I, because we've been around senior citizens quite a bit lately, and a lot of them do feel like their life doesn't have much purpose anymore. And so just helping them at the end of their lives realize that purpose and help them remember what they have done along the way, and comparing that to the teenagers in your class, same sort of thing. They're trying to figure out what their purpose is in life and where they fit in. And so, yeah, I didn't really think about it before, but there are a lot of similarities between those two, and how these activities, this curriculum, the poems, all of those things can help students figure out that purpose and have that meaning in their life, and give them the how they want to be remembered. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And sorry, I'm getting emotional, but um, being able to help people understand where their value is something that I'm very passionate about. But it's something that they have to discover for themselves. You can help, but it is a very personal journey, which is the point of this curriculum, right?
Yep.
And so if we can help students and seniors, like you said, you and I both have had a lot of experience with this recently. If we can help everyone understand how they want to be remembered, and then help them understand where they fit and what they can contribute. And like I said earlier, we don't have to, it doesn't have to be the amazing contributions of these amazing people that we always see online and on TV, but it can be something as simple as being able to take care of your mom at the end of her life, or me being able to take care of my grandma at the, it's something that no most people don't see. Most people will never know that it happened,
Right.
but it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, it reminds me of that story I'm sure everyone knows about the two people walking along the beach, and all of the starfish were washed up to shore, hundreds, thousands of them, and the one would pick one up and throw it into the water, pick another one up and throw it back into the water. And the other person asked, "Why are you doing that? You're not going to affect this at all. There are hundreds and thousands of these starfish." And the person said, "Well, it makes a difference to this one." So if you can help your students understand that you don't have to be world famous, like Brooke said. You don't have to have millions of followers or fans or whatever. Just make a difference in one person's life, and you'll see that it's all worth it.
Yeah. And as we've gone through and started doing the medal program interviews, which again, if you don't know about that process, please talk to us. We love talking to educators, because you guys have the opportunity to impact so many lives. No matter, whatever grade you teach, you have the opportunity to impact dozens and dozens of lives every day. Like I said, my professor, when I was 17 years old, changed my life in a 30-minute class.
Mm-hmm.
And I've expressed to him before how much that meant to me, and I hope that he knows. But I know for 100% positive, I'm not even close to the only person that he touched. He's changed so many lives of people that I know personally, and that's one teacher.
Yep. Yep, it's doable. You can change the world through one person.
So we have some comments that have come in. Rachel says she is ready for the interview. Woohoo!
All right.
We're gonna get that scheduled. And
Can't wait to talk to you again, Rachel.
yes, and thank you for joining us. We love having you. And then Spencer asked, if people don't have access to the online class agendas or the teacher's lounge, where can they get it? Email us or your educational consultant, and they can let you know how you can get access to that. It's really, really important, really helpful, very, very valuable resource.
So, Brooke, I'm kind of shocked, but we're at 30 minutes again.
I know, and
We didn't even get to the second poem. We didn't talk about webinars. We didn't talk about in-person institutes. So make sure you read the newsletter and get all that that information. Anything you want to say about that second poem?
I actually want to say go read the second poem. If you don't have a copy of Possibilities, let's get you a 30-day review set, or you can just buy one. But also, please make sure that you are registered for our best practice highlight webinar coming up on April 12th.
Yes.
And we also have our Tips Tuesday webinar coming up on April 19th. And we would love to see you there. It gives us some more chance to go in depth on these topics, because apparently 30 minutes is not enough for us. I don't know why 30 minutes live stream is so short and a 30-minute webinar seems so long.
Yes, it's crazy how that happens. It looks like we got another resource from Rachel. If you want to throw that up really quick before we go.
Let's do that. So Rachel says, love this lesson with Candy Chung's TED Talk, Before I Die, I Want to. Have you seen that one, Chris?
I have not, but I'll go look it up.
I was going to say, now I have homework. Thank you. That is excellent.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Yeah, we will definitely both look that up. All right. Yeah. So, and definitely please check out our newsletter for information about live institutes coming up. That means in person, not live on here, in person.
Actual face-to-face, in-person, human-led workshops. Institutes. What? Yeah.
We're excited. Can you tell we're excited? So, thank you very much for joining us today, everyone. We really appreciate you. Even if you're watching this after the fact, we appreciate you as well. Leave comments so we know that you watched. And if you have any questions, comment, email us. We love to talk to you.
See you next week.